Hola clase, vamos a hablar de los procedimientos de la clase. So we're going to talk about our class procedures and what to expect and what I expect from you during e-learning. Now these procedures are completely different from what we would do when we are here physically in class, but for now we're just going to adhere to these here, and then if or when we were to return in person, hopefully sooner rather than later, then I will update these as needed. So my email is at the top here for you, rlatinette@bths201.org. I am available 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. daily, but I do often check my email at other times and Google Hangout, so if you need something outside of those times, just send me a message, an email, or a Google Hangout, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. You can address me as Miss Latinette or Senorita Latinette, any of the above. For class materials needed, you will need a Chromebook or whatever other electronic device that you would like. Chromebook will probably be the best option because we will be using Google Classroom, Google Meets, Google Hangouts, Google everything. You will need something to write on, and then a folder is going to be optional for you. So we are going to get documents every day with Google Docs and Google Slides, and it's up to you if you want to print those. I know for me personally, I prefer to have a physical hard copy that I can take notes on and highlight things. So feel free to do that and keep a binder or a folder. If you're fine just doing everything electronic and creating maybe a Google folder in your Google Drive just for Spanish class, that might help you stay organized. Totally up to you. But you will be expected to hop onto Google Classroom every day. I will have your stuff posted by around 9 o'clock every day, and that is your responsibility to check. All of the announcements and assignments will always be there, even if we're using another platform to complete the assignments. You will find it all on Google Classroom every day. For completion of assignments, these are going to be submitted by midnight each day, whatever day they are assigned, or by whatever date that it is due. If for some reason you cannot complete the assignment on time due to illness or technology failure, it's your responsibility to notify me by email or Google Hangout on the day of the assignment as soon as possible. It's important to remember that assignments are not group projects, so you need to do your own work at all times. If for some reason it looks copied from another student, which is easy to tell after 10 years, 11th year now, teaching, so you will be given a 50% grade for anything that is copied or clearly not your own work. Assignments that reflect the use of Google Translate or any other kind of translator, including a human. For example, if your Spanish is way too advanced for your level, the vocabulary or grammar has never been introduced by the teacher, and it wasn't just one word or short phrase that you looked up at Word Reference, which again, we're going to talk more about that later. But that would be recorded again as a 50% as well. So it's technically, that would be an F if you're going to use a translator. However, I will allow you to recomplete for full credit should you wish. And then assignments should also always reflect your best work. So you should be putting time and effort into it and not just throwing something together real quick last minute just to turn it in, or you should never be turning something in that is incomplete, because it's going to come right back to you and you're not going to get credit for it anyway. So some apps that you can, and platforms you can expect for us to use. Again, Google Classroom every day. Google Docs and Google Slides are what I create and share everything on. Flipgrid is going to be a platform that we can record videos and share them with the whole class so that we can comment on them and see each other's. Screencastify is what I am using right now to videotape myself here while you can see my screen, and you can also just videotape, or you can also just record your voice without videotaping. I do upload my videos to YouTube for easy access for you, and I do create, I have a playlist for each of my class levels. We will have a new online textbook, a digital textbook called Voces, which we'll get into in a little bit later, so don't worry about that at the moment. But we will have Google Meets often. So I usually like to do those like Mondays or Fridays, or it just kind of depends what we have going on when it makes sense. Okay, so e-learning grading is going to be very different from what we would normally do when we are here in class. So your assignment categories are as follows. There's 5 categories: classwork, which can also be like homework, any kind of assignment basically. And then we have all the 4 different categories of language, so reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So normally these are all worth the same number, or the same percentage value. But for now, just to keep it nice and simple while we are doing e-learning, we're just going to keep everything on a point system. Nothing's going to be weighted. We're not going to have category percentages. But please be aware that if or when we return to school, that all of these procedures are subject to change, and we'll go back to our normal grading scales, as well as our assessment. The way we assess will be different if we're back in person. So that's another reason why it's also very important for you to do your own work, because when we come back to the classroom, if you haven't been doing your own work, it's going to be very obvious when it comes to your assessments. And then last, for Google Meets, whenever we do meet once or twice a week usually, you will know ahead of time. I will let you know at least the day before. It'll always be at the same time, so you will be finding out your class times, meet time, right before we do our first one, which I have planned for probably Friday right now. So the purpose of these are to really just kind of mimic the in-person learning experience as closely as possible. That's super duper important. Now, if for some reason you are unable to attend those, if there's some kind of scheduling conflict or illness or technology problems, it is your responsibility to notify me, always. And if you cannot make it to a Google Meet, it's always recorded and posted. And last but not least, whenever we do a Google Meet, you will be prepared ahead of time. You'll be expected to be prepared ahead of time with whatever questions that we're talking about. You do need to join on time. You do need to be dressed and look attentive, so it needs to be obvious that you are engaging with what we're doing and you're not looking away watching TV or engaging with someone else or looking down at your phone or looking at your screen engaged in something else. So I know it's possible to pull up other things on your screen while you are on a meet. So just be aware that I do notice those things, and in order to get your participation and to really get something out of it, we do need your attention. And then just some other reminders: mute your microphone when you're not talking, and then if you have questions, you can always type them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself at any time to ask questions. So that is, in a nutshell, what I'm going to expect from you all during our e-learning. If you have not yet watched the welcome video, a little bit about our class, please be sure to do so. I shared that yesterday on Monday the 17th. That's super important. And like I already mentioned, don't get used to hearing me speak English, because I won't do it very often. Most of our stuff is going to be in Spanish, unless for some reason it's like going over something like AP test prep that is something like a document written in English, then we will read that in English, but then sometimes chat about it in Spanish. So anyways, stay tuned for the rest of today's assignments, and just let me know if you have any questions or concerns about any of our e-learning procedures.